Test.
Forgot to turn my microphone on. So, and then we're going to look at some procurement savings initiative data. So this will be a fun meeting. I don't see, is Adrian Slash on?
I'm here.
Oh, you are good. Okay, I couldn't tell if they have the slides up. They don't. I didn't see your picture. Welcome, Adrian, to your first Finance Committee meeting. Unfortunately, we will not get a personal best today, but I'm excited to show you how we can make a new personal best next time.
That's all right.
So let's get started. I think the first order of business is to do a roll call, Derek, and make sure we've got a quorum. So our associate counsel, Derek Hamilton, will call the roll.
Please confirm your attendance after I state your name. Director Fagan.
Present.
Director Wilson.
Present.
Director Slash.
Present.
Thank you. We have a quorum.
All right, great. Thank you, Derek. So let's get right into it. We'll start with the 2026 budget. Justin Burkope, our budget director, take it away.
Thanks, Director Wilson. Good morning, board members. Justin Burkope, budget director for Indigo, here to present information item I-1, which is a FY 2026 budget update. This update is intended to be a high-level preview of what you can expect to see at our board meeting next week when we will fully introduce our 2026 proposed budget. At that time, you'll also receive a budget book with comprehensive department detail and additional relevant information related to our capital operating and debt service budgets. Next slide, please. So let's start by taking a look at our operating budget, specifically our proposed operating expense budget. For fiscal year 2026, we're proposing a budget of $153.9 million. This budget funds our personnel-related expenditures, our contracted and professional services, and our purchasing of operating materials and supplies. This budget represents an increase of just 4.85% over the adopted FY 2025 budget, which is over 1% less than the increase from our 2024 to 2025 budget. And I just want to highlight that that's really a testament to the great work that all of our department budget leaders have done when it comes to building zero-based budgets with our strategic plan and our strategic goals in mind, and keeping an eye towards fiscal sustainability. So thanks to all those folks. On the right side of this slide, you'll see a comparison by fiscal year of our planned expenditures by character. You'll notice the largest growth in the 26 budget is in the other services and charges character. The largest drivers of those are listed in the table on the left side of that slide. We've listed the investment description, the amount or the increase from the 25 budget, and then what we believe to be the strategic plan objectives that those investments go to support. And it's important to note that each of those items listed is not necessarily a contract or an individual line item. It's more of a functional area, it's like a department or a division. Next slide, please. So when it comes to funding our operating budget, we have three main revenue categories. That's local, state and federal, and other or miscellaneous revenue. And now the structure of how we fund our budget through these sources for 2026 has remained largely the same as in years past, with the majority at nearly 60% coming from local property taxes and local income taxes, which is our our referendum funding. You will recall that we are obligated to produce a balanced budget, and to achieve that in 2026, we are proposing using stimulus fund balance in the amount of $25.9 million, which you'll see highlighted there by the red box on this slide. This funding source is made up of previously reimbursed stimulus money that we have set aside to fill any operating deficits. And for next fiscal year, that represents 17% of our budget, which I believe is up slightly from 25 at about 14%. Next slide, please. And on this slide, we can take a look at our capital budget for 2026. And just a reminder that our capital program includes investments in 5 main project categories. That's BRT and on-street infrastructure, facilities, fleet, IT, and safety and security. And the total amount that we are proposing for our capital program in 2026 is $257.6 million. The largest of those capital investments you'll see listed on the side of the slide, and those will be for the Blue Line, construction of a new garage facility here at our East Campus, and for replacement fixed route and paratransit vehicles. One thing that I really especially want to highlight on this slide is that is how much that we're stretching our local dollars at the federal level by receiving over $142 million in grant dollars to support our capital program. So I'd like to shout out our great grants team for the work that they do, identifying discretionary grants, writing grants for our formula funding as well. So over half of our capital budget is supported by grant funding. It's also important to note that our 2 largest projects in 2026, the Blue Line and the East Campus Garage, are also supported by bond appropriations, and that further helps us utilize our income tax dollars for the capital program. Next slide. So just moving on to an update of our timeline and some key dates when it comes to our budget. Today, here's our Finance Committee meeting where we've sort of previewed the budget. Next week, as I mentioned, we'll have a full introduction. And then later in July, we'll have a public hearing. And then Thursday, August 21st, hopefully the board will adopt our budget for 2026. And then from there, it will go on to the City County Council for approval, and then finally the state. And in between the introduction, public hearing, and then adoption, the budget team's committed to meeting with board members as they'd like to answer any questions and go over the budget further. So that concludes my brief overview of the 26 budget. Happy to answer any questions.
Great, Justin, thank you very much. And I want to applaud you and your team for the work that you do, and also the directors. And I think we're finally getting to the point where, we're looking at all of these things and trying to figure out, what we have to do, what we should do, and what we don't really necessarily need to do anymore. So congratulations on working that through. And you too, Bart. Appreciate all the hard work you guys do. Mary Ann, did you have any questions?
I don't, thank you very much.
Adrienne, did you have any questions for Justin?
No, I don't, but I did also want to commend them. Great work.
Good, thank you. All right, Justin, great. All right, it's your turn, Brooke. So this is Brooke Thomas, and she's going to talk to us about our fiscal sustainability study, which is near and dear to my heart. So you'll have my undivided attention.
Right.
Go right ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, everybody. Brooke Thomas, Chief Development Officer. There really couldn't have been a better segue to this topic than some of those remarks about the 2026 budget. If you want to go to the next slide. We're kind of living two truths, if you will. And I'm going to spend a little bit of time on the left hand of the slide. We don't maybe spend enough time here, and it is why we're all here. You'll remember that, beginning in 2018, as soon as the referendum dollars started coming in, we started rolling out more reliable service. This was due to shorter wait times between buses and shorter commutes for our riders. We started turning up the service frequency, right? So faster service beginning with the BRT. Every route operating 7 days a week. We didn't used to do that. Longer hours of service with every weekday route operating 21 hours a day. More crosstown options through our expanded grid network and a more modern payment system. So we've been busy at work, right? On the right-hand side of the slide, and the reason for the fiscal sustainability study is that we have very real challenges that could seriously threaten our ability to continue to deliver on the plan. As we all know, we've had slow ridership recovery. We've had rising costs, stagnant revenues. As Justin spoke to, we've had a budget deficit since 2021, but have been able to rely on those COVID relief dollars. The negative impacts of Indigo's budget deficit is projected to begin in 2030 if no changes are made. The initial budget outlook, so looking farther than 2026, when it comes to revenue and how we think about revenue, the growth of property taxes is tightly controlled in Indiana, and Indigo should not expect above inflationary growth for those property tax revenue funds. It means we're going to have to depend on increasing local revenue sources to fund service increases from here on out. This leaves the local income tax and then what we sometimes call like own source, those things we can control. That's why we have a proposal to increase the fare rate in front of you all currently. Advertising, partnerships, there's other ways that we can work at the margins.
Brooke?
Yes.
Hold on just a second. Tamika, can you advance the slide?
Thank you.
We're on the next slide. Because I want Adrienne to be able to see what's going on. There we go.
Thank you. Under the expenditure considerations, while Indigo has continued to report underspending on such things as personnel, this will no longer be the case once we're successful in hiring all of the operators and all of the mechanics that we need to deliver the Marion County Transit Plan. So as we staff up to budget levels, we will not be underspending. That and our major capital investments that we've made have already begun to kind of translate into the need for more resources to maintain them. The red line, it feels like we just opened it, but it's several years old at this point. Yeah. He's going to kindergarten. Okay. Next slide. Our revenue situation has been bolstered by federal stimulus dollars. You'll see that we have the numbers for 2025. There's 14% from the stimulus funds, 10% from the other federal assistance funds. Justin just shared with you that we're proposing 10% for the federal assistance funds and 17% for the stimulus funds in 2026. little bit about the 10%, just so you can picture what that goes towards. For 2025, that's 10 million in preventative maintenance, 4.5 million for delivering the paratransit service and then things related to ADA, and then a 1% for safety and security. So while we know there is no replacement for the COVID relief dollars, and that 10% has been pretty consistent, we can kind of consistently rely on that. It's not guaranteed, right? Next slide.
Hey, Brooke, let me interrupt you
You
for just a
bet.
second. Do you know, have we gotten any feedback from Cardinal or our team in DC about what the FTA's thinking is on those grants that they were reviewing and what might be coming going forward?
Sure. Yeah, we have two grants that one is for the East Campus Garage and one for buses that are tied together. One of them has been released after DOT actually review, but because it's tied with the garage, we haven't actually executed it. The garage one, we're hearing positive movement on it, but it has not been fully executed yet. We also have a RAISE grant that is not quite at DOT yet, but should be hitting there pretty soon. And then we also have a grant that we supported DPW on that's also waiting to be executed. So all of those we feel confident about, but
We don't know.
there's a lot of unknowns that are out of our control.
Okay, Brooke, I'm sorry for
No,
interrupting you.
please
Go
keep
right
doing it.
ahead.
Yeah.
Proceed.
I'm not an alarmist person. I'm not here to kind of sound an alarm. We really see kind of our challenges as a call to action. So none of this is fatalistic. None of it is determinate. This is kind of just what happens if we don't make changes. You've heard from Justin about how we've already started to make changes when it comes to budgeting. You'll hear from my colleague Terry about some other things that we're doing. But as far as the study is concerned, these are the areas that we're looking at. So there are four primary ways out of this. And that is to earn more revenue. Again, I'll have to mention the fare rate increase, and attracting more riders to the system, so that we can increase those numbers as well. And then increase subsidies. Essentially, that's the funding provided through local, state, or other means. On the expenditure side, some of the stuff that we're already doing, right? Reducing costs by changing operating practices and policies and taking a hard look at our contracts and how we do those things. So all is not lost. Next slide. Our approach to all of this. Now we're kind of at this point where we're able to wrap our arms around the state of the agency, and I'll be coming back to the full board of directors in August to kind of hit the high points of that work. This fall, we'll be evaluating and opportunities and strategies and vetting those with you all. And then hopefully by the end of the year, have a really good roadmap for what we're going to do next year and the year beyond. The desired outcomes of all of this work. We want to identify opportunities for increased efficiency. We want to know what could be done and then figure out what the costs and the benefits to all of that could be, and then actually put on paper what should be done, what we will do. We want to produce an overall strategy that has very specific action steps that we can follow. We want something that we can track its progress. We want to be able to report on key performance metrics and make sure that we're reporting on the things that matter the most. And we'll be providing regular updates, providing how we're making progress along the way. So there's a whole, as always, right? There's a whole team of folks at Indigo behind me, but I wanted to highlight the consultants, go ahead, that we have helping us. The Nelson Nygaard team, you should be familiar with them. They're a full service transportation firm. The project manager for this project was previously RIPTA's general manager and led that agency through a pretty challenging transition as well. And as a consultant, she's helped many transit agencies take a similar look at their financial situation. Policy analytics, specifically Jason O'Neill. They're here in Indiana. They specialize in economic research, public finance, and policy analysis. He's got 12 years of experience doing complex evaluations of policy. And when you pull this lever, right, when this thing changes, then these things happen. So he's developing a forecasting and simulation tool for us that they'll turn over to us and we can continue to use. And then ICF, specifically Jonathan Lee. Jonathan has been at the forefront of quantifying potential impacts of fiscal cliff for transit agencies that are also spending down their COVID relief funds. He recently led a project for the FTA and modeled the fiscal cliff that they're looking at for all of us and its estimated impacts. So we feel like we're in pretty good hands, both with the team that we have internally and then the support that we're getting from the consulting team. And with that, I will take any questions you may have.
Okay. Marion, did you have anything for Brooke?
I know.
Adrian, do you have anything for Brooke?
I do not.
Okay. Well, you and I have had more conversations than you probably care to have had, so I'm not going to take up any more of your time. But I do want to thank you for the hard work that you're doing on this. This is really great stuff. And this is when we sat down, what, a year or so ago? I mean, this is almost exactly what
Yeah.
I envisioned when we had that whiteboard session.
Yeah.
So good job. Thank you for
Thank-
you and your team.
You're welcome. Makes all of us proud. Thank you.
All right, so let's move on to the thing I'm really dying to hear about. Terry, Bart told me about this the other day and he got me all excited. So we're waiting to hear from you. Take it away.
Thank you. Good morning, Terry Clay, Senior Director of Procurement. So what I want to talk about is some procurement savings initiatives that the Procurement Department, in coordination with pretty much everyone else at Indigo, has been working on. Is to ensure the fiscal sustainability. We're trying to look at practices that we have and can implement to help on savings. We're auditing vendor performance and contract compliance, including reconciliation of invoicing, negotiating contracts, quotes, proposals for improved pricing. We're requesting best and final offers during our solicitation processes, monitoring purchase requests to avoid duplication, scrutinizing requests to confirm alignment with Indigo's strategic plan, and doing calculated disposal of unnecessary or outdated assets, along with strategic coordination and release of solicitations. Due to these initiatives, it has resulted in a combined savings for this, since January of this year, of $2,977,169. So we've split that out into the buckets that I mentioned, just to give you some highlights. The post-board approved negotiations have resulted in about $736,000. Best and final offers, $604,000. Vendor performance and contract compliance, $85,000. Disposal of outdated equipment and unused assets, $107,000. And the strategic coordination and release of solicitations, $1.4 million. So that is what I have, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Well, I'm excited about this. Adrian, did you have any questions for Terry?
I do not.
Marianne?
Mhm. Yes, so what we've looked at, like I'll give an example, and you guys have dealt with it for the last couple of months, the janitorial services. What we've looked at is we were able to split out the facilities. And when the bids came, so we awarded by location instead of just one package. And when we looked at the bid prices, when they came in, the low bid for here, the east property, was high bid on 2 or 3 other locations. So with the practice of awarding one for everything, we would have paid high prices on several of the other locations if we'd have gone for a total number instead of by location. So that's one thing. Another has been just looking at what options are out there, making sure that our language on what our ask is very defined, and we're removing ambiguities, making sure that we're not asking for things that we don't need, because if we ask for them, we're gonna pay for them. So that's been most of the efforts.
Can you help me understand, and are these policy changes that you've made in the procurement thing, or is this just you guys digging into this stuff and finding, oh, hey, maybe we can, how did we get here?
A lot
guess
of
is what I'm
them
asking.
is digging into it. Like the best and final offer, yes, we've made a policy. So when we do RFPs, we, as a rule now, ask for best and finals. The negotiations, that's, just digging into it, meeting with vendors after you guys approve the award, going back to them and saying, okay, now we need to get a better price. So it's kind of a combination of, putting some policies in place. We're doing a lot more as part of the contract management, auditing on invoicing, making sure that what we're being charged, it matches what we contracted for. And we're finding out that we have a fair amount of vendors that up their charges as time goes on, even though we're under contract.
Okay, all right, I just got to tell you, I was over the moon when Bartlett was telling me about this, and I'm even more over the moon now that I've got the explanation. I just think this is great stuff, and I encourage you to keep going, drive on, okay?
Okay, thank
Terry,
you.
thank you very, very much. This is great stuff.
Thank you. And thank you to my team, because they have worked very hard on all of this stuff.
You make sure you tell them that we appreciate that. Okay, I think that's the last thing on our agenda. So, Mary Ann, do you have anything for the good of the order? All right, Adrian, do you have anything you wanted to pipe up on?
I do not. Thank you.
All right. Well, in that case, I guess we'll just stand adjourned. Thank you all very much.